All right, so what I have for you today is that we're going to calculate density. That's what we're going to do. Now, what's density? Now, density is what we say is the mass per unit of volume. So your density pretty much is the mass in a unit of volume, or some may say mass per unit volume. So it's how much mass is in a particular volume. Now the symbol for density, most people think that it's a D. Well, we only use uppercase D just for convention and just to make it simple, but it's actually a symbol that looks more like a P, and we call that symbol rho. Now rho, which represents density, is equal to the mass with the lowercase m divided by the volume. And that's how we calculate density. Now let's work a question. Now say a substance has a mass of 20 grams and a volume of 4 meters cube. What's the density? Now, what I like to tell my children is this: the first step in solving any equation is to write down what you know. What do we know? We know the mass, 20 grams. We also know the volume, 4 meters cube. That's the first thing you do. The next step is to go to your formula. Now density, which is rho, is equal to mass divided by volume. Now this is what I like to call the most important part, because at this part now, where we're actually going to solve and try to find density, is the easiest method for me working across to show you how you arrive at the units for density. Now watch this. Now density is equal to 20 grams divided by 4 meters cube. Working across still. So what is 4 into 20? How many times 4 can go into 20? 5 times. Now what are your units? You're just going to rewrite the units just as it is, with your gram over your meter cube. And how do you read this? You read this as 5 grams per meter cube. So the density of the substance is 5 grams per meter cube. Now you also have what we like to work with, which is called our density triangle, which has mass at the top, density and volume at the bottom. So if you want to find density, you cover density, you're left with mass divided by volume. If you want to find volume, you cover volume, you're left with mass divided by density. And if you want to find mass, you cover mass and you get density divided by volume. Now let's recap. Now what's density? Density is the amount of mass in a certain volume. It is represented by the symbol rho. And an easy way to calculate density to ensure that you get your correct units is to work going across. Instead of working like this, say density is equal to mass divided by volume. It makes it harder for people who are learning the topic to see the actual units for density. And I believe personally, this is how I teach my kids. I tell them work going across, and in the end you shall see your units. You just rewrite your units and it is read like gram per meter cube. I really hope this was helpful, and thanks again.